Hi, I'm Terry Pierce, and I will be presenting the use of imagery in the game of golf today. First, the table of content. Golf psychology will be the next page. How imagery is used in golf will follow. Types of imagery in golf, we will focus on visual and third person, and then imagery assistance in golf, summary, and then the bibliography will be last. So getting off, golf psychology. The game of golf is an extremely thoughtful game that requires mastery of several components of one's mind. The athlete must have a more than average understanding of their clubs and how they play. Also taking in the course as well as the uncontrollable forces such as weather and action. Using this information combined with past, present, and future speculations, the golfer must choose the club best for the shot, though this isn't where mastery of the mind is really needed. It's needed for when the shot doesn't go well. As a successful golfer, controlling one's emotion is very important. After a bad shot, you might want to curse, throw your club, might analyze what went wrong, and hold on to the memory later in the round, which might affect your judgment and future shots. These are just a few examples of the way the game is within a game. So, and that is just talking about the mental aspects inside golf. There's a lot more to it than just hitting a ball. I think we all know that. But it truly is a game within a game. And the mind is something you have to master in the game of golf. And a visual is Patrick Reed in 2019 US Open. He snaps his club out of anger after a poor shot. And that is letting your emotions get the best of you. And as a golfer, especially a pro golfer, those things cannot happen, and that's how you lose and lose out on money, really, when you're playing at that level. With the many mental obstacles that must be overcome in the game of golf, visual assistance is a key part of performing consistently at a high level. Every professional golfer and instructor knows the importance of visualization. Imagery is used during practice, to the night before a tournament, and throughout the tournament. In the following slides, the use of imagery will be dissected and explained. I apologize for that break. The Wi-Fi disconnected, so the presentation shut off, but we got it back rolling. So now we can actually get into imagery in the game of golf. From the practice course to the greens, to the driving range, and every other part of golf, imagery is used. Each golfer may have their own way of visualization, but the reasoning for it is consistent with all. The idea is to visualize with great detail the path the ball will take, depending on the shot attempted. This event in many golfers' minds looks like a string of a line, all starting from where the ball lies to the end and its desired destination. These lines help the athlete decide the best shot for that specific situation, but that's just one example of the many types of imagery used. And then this picture here is really a perfect example of what that looks like in at least my mind when I go up to a chip or to anything, especially a chip. I always step back, view the hole, and imagine my options first. In this case, I would wonder, hey, how short is the grass? Can I roll it up there? Do I have to hit it higher? Can I punch it in, let it roll a little on the rough, and then slow down as it gets to the green? Or do I need to play it higher? Can I land it on the fringe and then roll up to the flag? Also take into consideration how much room you have behind the flag. Whether a flop shot is needed or not. But this is a perfect play, as you can see. It looks like he puts it either in the hole or near it. But that's inside the mind of a golfer. So this begins my favorite part of this presentation because it's Tiger Woods, of course. But first, in this photo, Tiger Woods stands behind his ball, which happened to land directly in front of a tree. At this moment, Woods is going through all the possible options. He absorbed all kinds of information, from the structure of the hole to the softness of the grass. Tiger must narrow down his options and choose the shot that best fits him and the desired outcome with the information he's taking in. My favorite part about this paragraph, this little statement, is the shot that best fits him. As a golfer, it's very important not to do things or not to attempt things that you can't do, not to look at others and see what they're doing and then try to replicate it, but you have to play inside your own game, which again is the mental part of golf. But this is what I do when I come to my ball. I stand behind it and visualize my options. And I personally did this, so I'm proud of that I did that, but this is what I would look at when I'm looking at this hole. I would look at the options that I can hit, whether it's bending the tree to the left or playing it in the fairway to the right, trying to punch it out, letting it roll. The best situation or the best move that I probably and should make is punching it out, just getting it into the fairway, and then playing the green. But this is Tiger Woods. This isn't me. But now in this photo, you can see a couple of potential plays Tiger could make. This is a representation of the visual imagery most golfers experience when preparing for a shot. The lines are vivid and clear in the mind. They are also different for each athlete, even in the same situation. The lines provide a sense of reassurance and added confidence in the choice made, while additionally boosting performance by visualizing the result. That's very important, is the visualizing the result part. This is for all sports and all athletes. If you can see yourself doing it, it's a lot easier to achieve it. Again, I restated, where is that? That is different for each athlete. Again, especially in the game of golf, you don't want to try to play like somebody else. You want to play your game. Like I said, me in this position, I would probably choose the red or green line, possibly blue. I'm left-handed, so blue would be a little bit more difficult for me. So I'd probably choose the red or green, get it out in the fairway, approach it after that. But again, this isn't me. This is one of the greatest to ever play the game. And he chooses the yellow line, which is the more difficult option. But an important part of golf is playing the game the way you play. Yeah. Not try shots others might take and be capable of. In this example, an amateur golfer would have a maximum difficulty with this shot. Though Woods went through the options and visualized what he desired to perform by looking at the placement of his feet along with the openness of his head, of the club head. The yellow path represents the shot he's preparing to attempt. And I'll get in later to really practicing that and what he's attempting, but that yellow line is what he's saying in his head, is the path that he wants the ball to take. And by visualizing it, it may come true. I wish we could hear the audio from this. I'm sure he was talking to himself about this shot, which would go into more depth of imagery and being very vivid in what you want. But the next slide will show just what happened. Sorry about that again. The Wi-Fi cut off, but I believe the rest of the video played. So to continue what I was saying, I mean, that is a terrific shot by just an amazing athlete. But that is the power of being able to visualize what you're trying to do and visualize what you want to do and then doing it. So this is the types of imagery, third person now, looking at the self from another view. That is myself, by the way, at PGA West, one of my favorite photos of myself. But another type of imagery is third person visualization. This is seeing yourself from another person's eyes. Many athletes use this method of imagery to recall the way a certain movement or action was performed. It might appear to the athlete in their minds as they are seeing themselves from somebody else's eyes. This form of imagery is most vivid when the athlete actually sees himself while performing the movement properly, and the recalling back to this memory when performing the movement once more. This is similar to how a weightlifter often lifts weights in front of a mirror to better examine their form. This is the same for other athletes as well. Types of imagery, third person. This is a video of myself, and one of my coaches, he videoed me from different angles to show me what myself looked like during a swing. I was having some issues. I believe everything was left. Everything was open for me. I was coming in open. So this is a video that my golf coach took, and he talks through it and helps me examine the issues. This video is very important to my golf game, as since I was able to get this video taken and almost 2 years ago in the summer, I will still recall this video whenever I'm doing my own swings. I will still think about it in my head. What did I look like when I did that swing properly? Because I'm feeling the movement of the club face opening, and so I can recall back what I looked like when the club face was closed. My main issue was the wrist, but that is why a third person viewpoint is so important and can help an athlete so much. So we're gonna play just a little bit of it. I believe it's 3 to 4 minutes long, but yeah.
Alright, Trey. So, picture on the left was our before, picture on the right was the after. The number one thing, the king of the golf swing is the club face, right? And that is going to promote and kind of dictate what everything else that's going on is doing. Because that dictates where the ball's going to start. And so we need to do things that make the ball go towards our target, so we always respond to that club face. When we start looking at what happened, as you got up to the top of your swing, the face would roll open quite a bit. When we look
Right,
at
so
that
to
from
be
the
able to
face on-
see myself
on your
in my
board,
swing like
you
this
saw a lot of,
is super
like,
important,
turn
and
early,
the fact that I have
and you got up to the
multiple
top.
views
So you got up to the
helps
top
me
there,
see
this
where
little club
I
six
made that
inches
specific
from
move that I'm trying to
So a little
correct,
bit shorter
or
than
the
that,
specific
something
move I'm
that we
trying to
talked about
repeat.
That's definitely okay for you to do and get a feel for. Shorter though just means that we don't have that.
But this video continues going in on different angles, front and side. It shows my shot that should go left, and then it shows the correction and my shot that goes straight. So another important thing, I'm not sure if maybe later in the video. Let's see. But this comparison right here is super important in terms of visualizing myself, and the swings are just from an untrained eye, maybe they look the same, but they look very different for me, and especially seeing myself progress as a golfer, I can see the progression from here to where I am now. And having that in my mind and thinking about that when I practice or I'm at the range or when I'm in a tournament is very important and really helps me succeed myself and can help all golfers succeed. So now we're at the imagery assistance in practice, and this is large. This is big in terms of the game of golf and really developing your skills. So imagery isn't a skill all can be achieved naturally, or all can achieve naturally. There is some training and practice equipment utilized in golf that best helps the athlete visualize their intended movements of the ball. One example is the video in the last slide. The ability to watch your movements from an external perspective can be exceedingly beneficial. Further tools that help progress one's imagery is also alignment sticks. These sticks are placed in the ground, laid by feet, placed by targets, and much more. The goal of the alignment sticks overall is to help the athlete be more consistent, whether that's hitting a straighter shot or getting the ball to stop at a certain distance. So here is an example of how alignment sticks can be used. As you can see, one is in the ground, one is by the ball. Personally, when I hit, I rather mine be by my feet, and then I'll have one behind me just like this to make sure I'm not coming back at an angle. But alignment sticks are there to, one, give the feeling, right, that if I make this move, I hit the stick, which is bad. And then the other one is there for the target. And that is very important, as now when you go up to hit, let's say you're in a tournament, you're recalling these sticks, you're recalling where they were. And so that helps you not make the movement that you're not supposed to make, right? And the alignment stick for the aiming, specifically, again, I use mine for my feet. That helps me align myself with my target. So you can't use them in tournaments, but you can use them in practice. And the hope is by using them over and over again, you build muscle memory. So these are just some more examples of imagery assistance in practice. You have one of the putting tools here. I don't know what it's called, but I used to use one during practice as well. It starts off really hard to do, but the more you do it, the better you get. And simply is trying to putt straight. Same thing here. I love this one the most though, just because here you have to putt straight in a straight line. Here you can use the curve and the bend. And that's something that I really didn't talk about in the presentation, is seeing the line on the putting green. I think that is probably where you can see it the most in terms of me. My short game is my favorite, so when I get to the green, I just love to see the lines. And really you only see one line for me, which is the path I want the ball to take from point A to point B, and point B being the hole. So that's where this comes in, is you want to start off straight on that line, where that line may be. For this is a fairly straight putt, so he's going pretty much straight at the cup. So the line helps with that. So this specifically helps with the visualization of putting straight. Here you have the rings around the hole. These are typically used for chipping, and really puts in the mind, hey, I want the ball to land and end result be within this distance. And practicing with these, when you go onto the course and actually play around or play in a tournament, you're thinking about how close you want that ball, right? So that's where these tools come into play later on in your memory. Summary here. Imagery is often used in all sports in various situations. Golf is no different. These imagery skills are used at all levels, especially the professional level. This presentation went over only a few ways visualization is used. On the next page, you'll find a list of resources that discuss and or demonstrate imagery more in golf. This is also one of my favorite pictures because this is beautiful. And Jen is one of my favorite female golfers as well. Of course, we have one of the greatest of all time. But so I have a list of videos here, or videos and papers and articles, and one that's even somewhat of a shopping list. But first video is the Tiger Woods video that is in the slide. Second video is my video that's in the slide as well. Both of those are on YouTube. Third is an article that I found and really enjoyed reading. So the fourth video is probably my favorite that's on this list, because that's a video I found when I was younger, and I think I was a sophomore in high school when I found that video, and I would rewatch that video all the time. And it's basically just Tiger Woods at a range clinic talking to hundreds of people just about the game of golf and his take on it. And part of it specifically shows how he draws or slices. I mean, generally slice is bad, but how he can curve and bend the ball to his will and the way he does it. In that part, he talks a lot about imagery, setting up the feet, setting up the club face. So watching that video and then going back and watching this first video that was on the slides and how he actually does bend it around the tree, you can actually see the way he talks in the video demonstrating him curving the ball is the same thing he does in that first video, which is really awesome. The fact that, again, he preached something that he does in practice, and the way he practices, and then you get to see it in action, and it turns out the exact way he wanted it to. And to me, that is all due to memory and muscle memory, and that can be attained through imagery and visualization and visualizing what you want. So next, we just have several different things that I found in the past or that I found present looking for these things. I set a shopping list, and so right here is a Dick's Sporting Goods shopping list, which talks about a couple of the best training aids for golfers. And I wanted to add this one because it's very different from all the rest, and it just goes over some tools that you can use in practice. And most of those tools are developed to help your muscle memory and visualization of the ball and where you want it to go. So I like that shows how most of the tools dedicated for golf are for visualization and muscle memory. And that is the end of the presentation. Thank you for watching.